Welcome to Gods of Semen, the channel that will completely change the way you view masculinity. My name is Laert. We are not discussing mere theory here. Rather, we are discussing a life-changing experience that combines spirituality, science, and personal growth to reveal the full potential of humanity. Maybe you have already experienced the seemingly endless lack of energy, the paralyzing dread, or even the sense of purposelessness. Your physical, mental, and spiritual development will be accelerated at this very moment by the practice of seminal retention. The concept is straightforward yet brilliant. By conserving your vital energy, you can refocus all of your potential into creating a life that is full of accomplishments and outcomes. A crucial heads up before we begin. I will only respond to the questions from those who send a thanks note worth more than $5, giving priority to the largest donations. In addition to bolstering the channel, this funding enables YouTube to disseminate this information to guys who are in dire need of this transformation. Watch this video through to the finish. I will demonstrate the spiritual and scientific underpinnings of seminal retention and offer doable strategies for overcoming low motivation, dribbling fear, and gaining complete control over your life. Remember to click the bell and subscribe to join this group of men that are looking for progress. You are the key component that will enable me to spread this transforming message to the entire planet. Resuming your power that has always been yours requires you to join this transformative movement. I, Laert, approach this journey with excitement because I know how difficult it is to abruptly stop doing something that seems so normal and ordinary in each of us, particularly when we go through this time, when we don't ejaculate and realize how many temptations we are exposed to on a daily basis, from digital stimuli to the deluge of impulses that appear out of nowhere. Every time I take on this challenge, I feel like I'm demonstrating something almost heroic because it takes discipline beyond just sustaining the will to resist the daily need to give in to masturbation or pornographic stuff. I like to imagine that by letting go of this instant comfort, I'm developing an inner strength that will help me deal with life's other challenges with more resiliency. I become aware of how much more concentrated and clear my thinking is during these periods, as though every day that I don't ejaculate has given me an extra boost of energy. I understand that some people might dismiss this as a placebo effect, but the accounts of men all over the world who claim to have felt more confident and even to have seen a discernible change in how others perceive them support the notion that we are not merely dealing with a delusion. The discipline of controlling sexual urges and the capacity to use this energy into more ambitious objectives, whether they be artistic, physical, or professional, appear to work in tandem. I recall the day I made the decision to take on this task a few years ago after seeing how much time was wasted on the constant pursuit of instant gratification and pornography due to my own impulses. Because we have been conditioned to view sexual pleasure as something that should be enjoyed whenever possible, without any filter or containment, it appears that society as a whole is ill-equipped to handle this topic. But I started thinking about how this strong energy, which is first used for reproduction, may be transformed into fuel for other aspects of existence. I believed that when I stopped using masturbation as an escape, I was compelled to confront my issues, discover what truly drove me, and then get more involved with unfinished tasks. The first few days were dramatic, I admit, as though every cell in my body cried out for that immediate release. It's incredible to see how deeply established the behavior of ejaculating whenever we sense excitement gets, to the point that our minds explode when we attempt to break the cycle. That's when I realized that this abstention is actually a test of mental and personal limits. It's not only about going a few days without masturbating, it's also about learning how to handle excitement, anxiety, and even boredom. I saw that during this process, the discipline increases to a level I never would have thought possible since, above all, it is required to refocus the thoughts that would otherwise readily be diverted by the pornographic stimulation. I first learned about the idea that holding on to semen would create a sort of magnetic field of attraction about this time. I'll admit that at first I thought this was just a bit of a fantasy, but as the weeks went by, I noticed a shift in how I interacted with others. It was as though the once squandered energy would feed me from the inside out, and I felt less scattered in social situations and my gaze appeared firmer and safer. Therefore, I realized that this magnetic field may be seen as a metaphor for the present moment condition that we are currently cultivating. We are inherently more self-assured and, as a result, more inclined to exude charisma. I also observed that my sense of humor improved, allowing me to lightheartedly discuss even the most serious topics, like sexual abstinence. Perhaps in order for more men to understand that it is not a pointless sacrifice or a radical practice, but rather a chance to rearrange priorities. This balance between seriousness and humor is necessary. I've heard a lot of people claim that there isn't any solid scientific evidence that semen retention creates this magnetic aura, yet it's hard to deny the evidence from collective experience. Some argue that some of these effects may be explained by increased testosterone following a few days of abstinence, while others think it has more to do with rerouting nutrients and critical energy. I find it very intriguing because when I don't release my sexual energy, I can see my work more clearly and feel more centered because I have the safety I need. Perhaps this self-assurance is what attracts attention and gives the idea that we are more attractive when, in reality, we are just more genuine, alert, and present. I came to realize over time that the idea of superpowers is more than a joke or an exaggeration. I noted how much more willing I felt to tackle activities that I'd previously put off as each day went by throughout this month of not ejaculating. In order to practice exercises with greater dedication and surrender at work, I got out of bed early. Closer friends started to observe that I seemed to have a shine in my eyes that they had not previously noticed, and that my mood was much more steady. I made the following remarks at that moment. Keeping this control not only relieves the usual fatigue that follows ejaculation, but it also enables me to concentrate more on the important things. I feel like I'm holding back internal resources that were previously provided without my consent. Someone may question whether I exaggerate by giving the mere lack of masturbation and pornography so many advantages, but I think the worth of this is found in the accumulation of all the minor advantages that result from the process. You can decide to plan your day, move on with a project, organize a pending task, or focus on a significant relationship at the same moment that you resolve to avoid temptation. I feel more alive and accountable for my journey since I am always exercising conscious choice. I am fully aware that many people view sexual pleasure as a way to release pent-up tension, but I also understand that the relief that comes from resisting an inclination that, when overdone, rendered us slaves to the habit is what actually relieves tension. Naturally, I don't condemn masturbation in and of itself. Rather, I recognize that in my situation, an excessive amount of time and effort was expended, which left me feeling more drained and scattered. However, I was more determined to look for alternative types of fulfillment, like genuine human connection, self-improvement, and even career and financial advancement when I deprived myself. I even believed that the first hardship was temporary, but every day of the challenge was different, as though I was reminded of the importance of self-control and the power of temptation, each time with a new detail. Realizing how exposed we are to stimuli that drive libido in a world full of erotic content, from social media to online ads, almost invites us to consider if we are truly in charge of our lives or whether we are letting them dictate us. As I progressed through these yearly challenges, I began to view them as a form of life training rather than a burden. Every time I became more in control of my own body, I realized that if I could control something so ingrained, I could control other aspects of my life as well. With every resistant cycle, I came to understand that I had built a solid foundation of self-confidence, and that, although my urges do not define me, they can be useful if I can control them. I valued the time considerably more as a result of this perception, which also helped the sexual area. I put more effort into my career, and I saw a shift in my relationships as well, because I began to value conversations and closeness more than the quick fix that lonely pleasure offers. The way my social group responded to these changes is an intriguing point. Are you prepared to move forward with a life of profound spiritual enlightenment and introspection? Meet my newest book, Alchemy of the Gods, which offers insights into spiritual emancipation, Kundalini, and crystalline oil. Every page has been thoughtfully crafted to lead you on a path of self-discovery, consciousness growth, and rediscovering your actual self. Imagine being able to access techniques that increase your energetic frequency, reveal your latent potential, and give you complete insight into your true self. This is the strength that your job gives you. The best part is that Alchemy of the Gods is accessible in print, digital, and audiobook formats, allowing you to immerse yourself in this hallowed realm no matter your location or preferred reading style. Don't pass up the opportunity to acquire enlargement, equilibrium, and a fresh self-perception. Simply click the link in the description and the repaired remark to get the Alchemy of the Gods now and experience all you've always wanted to. First of all, though, I have something new that you might not have anticipated. With over 2 hours of unique content covering the key subjects of seminal retention, I recently released the audiobook SEMEN Retention Success Path. Here you'll learn how to effectively release your vital energy, regain your attention, and experience long-lasting personal development. It's comparable to having a comprehensive roadmap for turning your potential into reality. Additionally, when you buy this audiobook, you will receive 30% off the Art of Semen Retention for Men booklet, which has 20 pages of sophisticated methods to help you discover your life's purpose, enhance your emotional equilibrium, and grow spiritually. This is your chance to take a huge step forward in your personal growth and realize your full potential as a man. Do you want to help this work even more? And, in other words, gain exceptional benefits? Join my channel as a member. To further speed up your transformation journey, members will receive priority replies to their inquiries, early access to information, and other exclusive benefits. Additionally, you contribute to the channel's constant activity, which enables me to deliver an increasing amount of news that will improve your life. In order to fully experience this evolution movement, click the link in the description or fixed comment right now. Guarantee your items, and if you'd like, become a member. Greetings from a new age of self-discovery and inner strength. When I mentioned that I was launching a challenge to go 30 days without ejaculating, some individuals were taken aback. But shortly after, curiosity took over, and many others were curious about the topic. It's amazing because guys are eager to learn more about their own sexual power and the consequences of trying to control it. It's similar to finding a parallel universe, where the energy we often expend without much thought may be used to develop, learn, and excel in a wide range of subjects. In my experience, a sense of purpose is also connected to this increase in personal magnetism. I felt like I could channel my sexual energy toward the bigger objectives the more I realized how important it was to my life. Every time the temptation struck, I recalled why I had begun the challenge, which added a unique hue to my maturation process. I became aware over time that people began to perceive me differently, possibly as a result of the way I spoke and behaved. I saw the strong connection between semen retention and true self-confidence, and I was no longer embarrassed to take on my aspirations head-on. When there is no quick fix, we will have to deal with the issues that lay beneath our fears, which gives us an outwardly visible emotional resilience. As a result, I think this magnetism is a natural byproduct of discipline and refocusing energy to create a stronger version of ourselves rather than a supernatural phenomenon. Even if I carry on with my everyday activities, I regard this month as a time of readjustment, a sort of spiritual retreat. I feel as though I'm clearing out the extraneous distractions that center on sexual attraction in order to better identify my weaknesses and areas for improvement. And it is simpler for me to observe how my posture changes in response to life when I am more conscious of this. When I don't look for instant comfort, I find more healthier ways to cope, including through sports, meditation, or having a meaningful conversation with a trusted person. The more I delve into this way of life, the more I realize that sexual energy is essential to everything we do in life, not just reproduction. It is the force behind our ability to fight, love, create, transcend boundaries, and even savor genuine moments of bliss. When I gave this some thought, I realized that wasting this energy consistently left me unmotivated for things that I had previously found interesting. The feeling of concentrate increases after the initial days when the mind settles down and starts to realize that there is no more porn or masturbation as an exhaust valve. As a result, I started to observe that it was simpler to pick up new abilities, finish unfinished books, and even find enjoyment in resolving mundane difficulties during the challenge. This shift may seem abstract, but I've experienced it firsthand. Everything becomes more present when there is no longer a constant need for sexual fulfillment. As a result, I discovered that everyone around me, especially my co-workers, responded favorably to me, maybe as a result of observing my increased commitment and engagement in what I did. Curiously, a lot of them have asked how they could be able to experience this feeling of increased vitality as well, and I always emphasize that there is no simple solution. Recognizing the strong influence that sexual urges have on us is frequently the first step. Once this is understood, it becomes easier to see that keeping the semen is a rite of empowerment rather than merely a deprivation. I like to believe that we are training our brains and spirits to function at their best, much like we train our muscles at the gym. I think this kind of discipline is necessary if we want to accomplish big things. As the weeks pass, the sense of invincibility gives way to calm serenity, and I come to the realization that the difficulty lies more in self-awareness than in sex. I had to pay close attention to my emotional triggers because I was not able to find solace in any sexual stimuli. I frequently came to the realization that I turned to masturbation and pornography as a way to cope with discomfort, anxiety, or even loneliness. Without this exhaust valve, I was forced to confront my issues and come up with new ways to decompress, whether it was by engaging in sports, talking to friends, or engaging in hobbies that truly fulfilled me. My confidence increased as a result of this entire process since I was able to confront internal conflicts that I had previously disregarded in favor of quick fixes. As though I were reviving a dormant solidity of character, I began to feel more connected to the person I saw when I looked into the mirror. This firmness then permeates my communication style and my overall interpersonal relationships. It is therefore not surprising that many challenge participants say they feel more masculine or that others perceive a change in their presence. The truth is that by building up this sexual energy, we produce what some refer to as magnetic vibration. This could be the firmer tone of voice, the most piercing gaze, or the confident body position. I see it as a reflection of being more full rather than as mystical. It is normal for us to have a more stable stance and for this posture to communicate with people around us when there is no random vital energy. I also came to the realization that comedy is more consistent throughout the day, as though my mental clarity is maintained and emotional fluctuations are less abrupt. In this regard, it's fascinating to observe that while our culture frequently pushes us to want quick and fleeting pleasures, semen retention necessitates a nearly opposite mindset of self-awareness and patience. I became aware of how much autonomy I can have, if I so choose, because of this contradiction between what the outside world suggests and what I propose to do. I enjoy knowing that I am an orchestrator who can channel energy to various areas, enhancing my personal power rather than being a slave to my impulses. I feel that throughout this time of abstinence, I not only refrain from ejaculating, but also consider my habits in general. What other automatic activities did I use energy on? I came to the realization that I frequently felt exhausted, not from working hard, but rather important in my life when I think back to when I first started this challenge a few years ago. I feel like I have more freedom to decide what is truly worth my time and effort now than I had in the past, when I could simply divert myself with any dopamine rush. I'm constantly learning about myself, and every new event makes me more conscious of my weaknesses, potential, and limitations. Because of this, I view this abstaining month as a holy time for self-observation and devotion. Building a more aware and healthy relationship with my own sexuality is the goal, not becoming a martyr or permanently denying myself sexual pleasure. Every man has the freedom to choose how he wants to manage his energy, and I don't plan on forcing this practice on anyone who don't feel in sync. It is obvious that it is time to take action when everything feels heavy and a sense of stagnation takes over. It might be time to look for significant, long-lasting change if you feel that your energy is dispersed and that opportunities are missed. Don't allow this opportunity pass you by. To learn the next stages to your ultimate transformation, click like, subscribe to the channel, and watch the next suggested video.